Okay, so in this particular video, I'm going to talk about the process of spiritual ascension, okay, and growth. Spiritual growth and ascension. Now, spiritual growth and ascension happens to the people that have gone through a spiritual awakening. So normally, like I've said, usually, your life will never be the same, okay? So there is things that are going to start to shift around you. Your reality will shift. And normally this process is taking you to, is making you or is pushing you to become your greatest version, okay? Because you see, when your old life falls apart, you now start feeling the urge of creating something different for yourself. Some people may be lucky, the path may be laid out to them in plain sight, so they will see where they need to go. But there are some people who are going to actually do that thing by themselves on their own. And like I've said, that ascension is inevitable. I want to prepare you with the things that you have to put in your mind, because these are the things that actually are going to help you, really help you on your journey, okay? When none of these things happens, you have to know that you're going through some kind of a spiritual growth and ascension, and you have got to know that it's a normal thing. So you do not have to fight with this, just continue going on with the flow, and you really get to where exactly you need to be, okay? So spiritual growth starts with an idea. And when I'm talking about spiritual growth, I'm not talking about your job, okay? I'm not talking about the job that you're doing, the one where you wake up and you go a couple of hours and you come back home and you go the same routine every now and again. You're creating something out of your comfort zone, okay? And you're making something new for yourself because you're deciding to go a certain direction that is actually going to serve you and also help other people around you. Now, the process of growth will usually start with an idea, okay? An idea will come to your mind. It can be anything. Personally, when I thought about this process back in the days when I was starting this channel, the whole art of creation started with a small piece of paper, okay? I was walking in the park one day, and I was having these walks like I'm doing now, and I landed on a piece of paper because those days I was asking myself a lot of questions. What do I need to do, how do I need to move forward? I didn't know what to do in that time. And I found a small piece of paper on the floor. That paper was written on it, go create, okay? For some reason, the universe made me see this because I was asking myself, what do I need to do to move forward? And that is the piece of paper that actually motivated me to start creating something out of my usual schedule, okay? Out of my comfort zone. And that is how I started creating videos. We're talking about 3 years ago. Everything is going to start with the idea. You are going to be pushed somewhere and forced to create something new. The idea may start for you. You may get these insights into starting your own shop. You may get an insight of starting your own store. You may get an insight of starting selling some things online. You could start something on YouTube. You may start your own TikTok account or whatever TikTok page. It can be anything. But everything is going to start with an idea. So that is the very first process you will experience when you're actually going through some form of spiritual growth or ascension. If you have actually gone through a spiritual awakening at some point, you are first of all going to get, so these are like the stages, okay? You're going to get the idea. Now, when that idea comes in and you hop on this path, whatever path you may decide to take, could be writing a book, could be going into acting, could be furthering your studies and going into education, whatever, it can be anything. Now, the other thing which will usually happen, you're going to first of all in those early stages experience some difficulty in taking off. Taking off is going to be very, very difficult. For example, I could give you an example. You could be somebody who has always dreamt about losing weight. You could be overweight, it's like you cannot get yourself off the ground. You cannot get yourself to do certain things. And you've always had this dream of actually starting to lose weight. Let me tell you something, it's going to be very difficult to take off. Okay, this is something you're going to have to look within you to get that energy, to get that courage, and to motivate yourself, because sometimes there will not be anybody to motivate you. and you're going to start making the necessary steps to start hitting the gym. Okay, so difficulty, you will experience difficulty to take off. It's going to be very hard. Sometimes you will go one day and then you go back in your comfort zone, because the comfort zone is something which is familiar. It's familiar territory. So we are not used to this kind of growth as individuals. We have not been conditioned to grow. Okay, we have been conditioned to stay in that bubble and doing what everybody else is doing, because it's too easy and it's too comfortable and it's too straightforward. You know what I mean? But for anybody who wants to achieve very big things in life, you're going to push yourself and force yourself out of your comfort zone. So in those days, like as well, on top of getting the idea, you might also experience a little bit difficulties in taking off. Okay, but when you overcome that eventually and you take off eventually, of course, taking off is going to be in stages. You may find yourself sometimes pursuing this dream 2 times a week, sometimes a few hours in a week, sometimes the whole week. Is going to depend. Personally, when I was doing this, that time it was locked down, so there was no activity going on, so I had a lot of time to do this, and I could just keep on going every day. Okay, every other day at least. I started with maybe 2, 3, 4 days a week, and then at some point I started going on a daily basis. Even sometimes I could record 2 or 3 videos a day. So eventually, when you get the courage to take off, like I've said in the second part, you are now going to start getting a lot of negative talk from the haters. Now, there will be usually people that are going to be watching you from the background. Okay, those have been your friends, those have been your partners, your wives, your husbands, and now they are seeing you starting to make some moves, and they don't understand what you're doing, what is wrong with you. Sometimes that's when they are going to come around and start talking negative about you. Why are you wasting your time? This thing is not going to work. I don't know why you even don't go and get a normal job. Why don't you do the regular things? These kind of things, they frighten and scare people. Okay, so when they see you starting to make very big moves for yourself, it makes them very uncomfortable. And for them to be, it's easier for them to be comfortable when you're where you are, where they can see you and be able to control you, and they actually know what you're doing. But if people cannot figure out what you're doing, it's going to actually be very threatening for them and scary for them and intimidating for them as well. So that's why you're going to get a lot of negative talk. So that's the period when a lot of people who are going through this journey of growth, they start to detach from people, because sometimes you're feeling like your friends don't understand you. They are pulling you back, they're dragging you backwards. They want you to go back and do the regular things that you've always done and get the same results that you've always got. And sometimes you're feeling that it has been too comfortable for you to evolve. Now you're getting out of that box, out of that comfort zone, and you're growing. This is what is making a lot of people very uncomfortable. And now they're talking you down and talking you out of it. Okay, that is also going to be a little bit of a challenge when you're going through this journey of spiritual growth and ascension. Okay, but when that as well, you overcome that at some point, there's going to be a stage where you're going to feel like you've been doing this for a while. Okay, so you've been doing it for a month, for 2, I don't know, maybe sometimes even for a year. And sometimes you're feeling like there's no results. Okay, you're not getting the results that you always needed, you've always dreamt about or you wanted. And sometimes you're going to have that feeling inside of you to give up. Okay, that is when you know that actually, when you ever start feeling those things inside of you that maybe this thing is not working, should you give up, or these things like that, you're feeling that energy of giving up. That is when you know that you're doing something right. So do not be fooled by those insights coming into your head that you should give up. Okay, keep on going no matter what, ladies and gentlemen. Sunshine, rain, I've been coming here, sometimes you've been seeing me. It's raining, I'll get my umbrella, I will record the videos, because this is my path and nobody's going to take me off this path, no matter who they are. So on that early days, this thing can sometimes take about 6 months, maybe sometime to a year, where you may not actually be getting the results. You could have opened your own shop, for example, your store or whatever, something online, and you're not getting sales, you're not getting buyers, nobody's buying your stuff and everything. You're going to feel like you need to give up. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. The miracle is behind that plan to give up. The moment you give up, you're going to lose everything. So before you think about giving up, you also need to think about the reason as to why you started in the first place. And that should motivate you. That should be your motivation to keep on going. Okay. Now, the other one which I want to talk about, the 5th one, some of the challenge you may experience as well on this journey of spiritual growth and ascension is usually going to be lack of support. Okay, so sometimes you're going to lack support, you're going to lack the resources. When I was starting back in the days, I had a very, very poor quality camera. Okay, so you guys already know that I just been gotten out of this narcissistic relationship. and I was still trying to build myself, healing and building myself at the same time. So I had a very, very poor quality camera. But I didn't allow this thing to put me down, and I didn't allow this thing to keep me, to keep me back. I used that same camera, ladies and gentlemen. For the most of you guys who don't believe me, it's easier for you. You're going to go back to those early videos, in the first videos that I used to do. You're going to see the quality of the camera that I used to do. So it was this phone, very old phone, okay? But for me, the only thing that I needed was a camera to record a video and I can upload it. That's all I needed, okay? And that's what actually motivated me. So sometimes when you're on this journey, whatever it is you decide to do, you're going to lack resources. Sometimes you find that people are not supporting you. Your family doesn't want to give you some money. The banks are, the banks are denying the credits and everything. You cannot get any access to loans. It is going to be difficult. You're going to feel like you're dragging one foot after the other one, okay? So sometimes in that moment, like I've said, sometimes the universe can send your destiny helpers on that journey, on that way. And sometimes those people may actually help you on your journey. There may be sometimes the people who are doing the same thing that you want to do, or you are doing at that time, and they may come to your aid and sometimes give you a little bit of help, a little bit of money, even sometimes something as simple as emotional or sometimes physical, even sometimes financial support. So that moment is also going to come. When it happens, you have got to know that you're growing. It's a part of evolution and growth. It is not like everything is going to be laid out to you on the table. It's going to come to you automatically on the silver plate. You're going to have to struggle and put in the work and the efforts and the finances and the resources you need to get to where you want to be, okay? Now, the last one, which I want to talk about, one of the challenges you may as well experience as a person who is going through this journey of spiritual growth and ascension is when you're going to doubt yourself a little bit. You're going to think that you're doing the wrong thing. So because this thing comes after all these other things that have been happening on your journey, and sometimes you're going to sit down by yourself and you're thinking that, are you really doing the right thing? Are you on the right track? Is this thing what you're doing worth it? You're going to start asking yourself a lot of these questions, you know what I mean? So there's going to be those moments when you'll be by yourself struggling and hustling and, putting one foot after the other one and going, and sometimes there's no results, there's no support. Sometimes you're giving, it's like you feel like giving up, a lot of negative talk everywhere. And sometimes you're going to feel like you are doing the wrong thing. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. When you ever come to that point, you have got to know that's the ego that is coming in. The ego now is telling you that, listen, you was much more happier and comfortable where you are. I don't even know why you're bothering yourself with this thing. You should go back to where you've been, and that was your comfort zone. That was familiar territory for you. But now you're stepping into unfamiliar territory, creating something new, and the ego is not accustomed to changes. So sometimes the ego is coming in and telling you all this kind of, you're feeling a lot of these ideas that, this thing probably is not going to work. Sometimes you're feeling, am I even doing you're going to ask yourself and question yourself, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever started something to grow spiritual and evolve, you're supposed to know that all these things are going to be some of the things, the challenges you're going to meet on your journey. Do not give up no matter what. Choose the ones, I will guarantee you this, one day you'll look back and you will thank yourself for not giving up at some point, for not giving up on yourself and keeping on going to get where you want to be. So those are some of the 6 challenges I can think about that you may face as a person that is going through some kind of a journey, who is on this journey of growth and ascension, okay? And again, if there's any of them that I've not mentioned that has been a part of your journey, let us know in the comment section below. You guys know that I do love and appreciate your support. You can book a session, donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I'll catch you guys in my next one. Desmo signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.